Hello and welcome to Life with Francy podcast, a place where you will find all types of conversation like mental health, self-love, self-care, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a place where we support one another in business and personal life. Hope you enjoy this episode. Now, let's get the show started. so, on today's episode, sorry, the energy is on point right now. I am loving this. and so I have the pleasure to talk to Annie Delre. Okay, and then she's gonna help us. She's gonna tell us more about her because she's amazing. So I'm gonna let her talk to. I found her through Podmatch, a great community for podcast hosts and podcast guests to create an amazing collaboration like this one. So let's get to know Annie. So what is life with you?
Okay, more than happy to share. More than happy. Um, so I'm originally from Jersey, and you noticed in the beginning I use a little cuss word sometimes. Like that's the most Jersey thing that I could possibly do. um, about I'd say 7 years ago, I moved to California. I moved by myself. Um, I just like got on a plane. I'd never visited California before. I'm like, let's just do this. And now I feel like I'm in this nice balance of Jersey and California, like this appropriate mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied psychology in Jersey, and then when I moved to California, I got my master's in integrative wellness coaching.
Wow.
So if it's not obvious, I've made my life coaching. um, or I wouldn't have invested that much time and money into
Mm-hmm.
a hobby. So which some people can, and right on, like heck yeah. But I chose to make this my life, like eat, breathe, sleep, coaching and supporting others. What else? Now I live in San Diego. So shout out to anyone in Southern Cal or everywhere. Um, what else? I've coached hundreds of people. I've coached hundreds of men and women on different topics, hence it called like integrative wellness coaching. And for my personal business, I promote towards women.
Okay.
I would never turn down a guy because I've had a lot of fun coaching men that, not to be sexist for either side, but they're
Mm-hmm.
different. Like,
Yeah.
I've just noticed different things. And it's exciting, especially when a man comes on camera and is like, I want to be a better communicator with my wife and kids. I'm like, how can I not love you and want to hug you through the camera? Like, oh, that's so good. Or like, I'm a bit aggressive, or my wife wants to share her feelings and I don't know how to talk to her about that. And I'm like, you have a million things going on and you're still prioritizing this. Like, ugh. So where a woman, like, now she's a mom, she's a partner, and she's works full time.
Yeah.
Not that dads aren't important, just women also have different roles.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, maybe um more responsible for taking care of things around the house. But why can't it be 50-50, right? Like you're stressed out, um you're overwhelmed, you're angry at your partner, but talk about communication. Do they know you're struggling? Or if they do, are you screaming at them every time? Like, let's talk about potential ways. I may be going on a tangent right now. I don't even know. Okay. We don't have to talk
you're,
about that. We
you're
don't have to.
fine. You're fine. So yeah, tell us, how did you start this mission to help others? What did it start it? How did it start it?
What and how? um, Honestly, I think a big part of it was growing up in a dysfunctional family.
Thank you, Jesus. I mean, same here. Sorry.
I
That's my jam too.
and I think most people who have, um, like, I don't want to say with good hearts and others don't have good hearts, but once they've struggled or watched multiple people struggle, so I have a family with 6 kids in it. That's a lot of different personalities. I was born in a strict Catholic family. That also adds a layer to what life would be like for someone. So being around that, I was like, what the heck is going on? And how can I help? Because we're not the only family where there was trauma. We're not the only family that someone suffered from addiction and how it affects everyone around them.
Mhm.
And also, how can I not be a victim and instead be a survivor or a thriver? And it's easy to stay a victim. It's super easy, especially if you've experienced something like sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. The blanket answer of, yeah, but my childhood, no wonder I'm like this. Well, when you were 6 years old, you didn't have control. After 18, you have control. 18, you're still a baby, like kind of, or you're just starting life. But it's truly up to you to make forward movement. Someone's not holding your hand for the rest of your life. Like, unfortunately, not.
Yeah,
So
no.
that's what got me interested. I studied psychology, and then I realized I learned the difference between psychology and coaching. So I'll just say it real quick. Say, therapy, what you're doing is coping with the present and unpacking the past. You're really
Okay.
exploring the past to unpack things, to heal. While in coaching, we are going to discuss the present, a little bit about the past because it's silly to think it doesn't affect our present situation. Um, all I care about is the future. That's the focus. If we're talking too much about the past, I'll gently let them know, like, this is a therapy appropriate topic. Let's make note
Wow.
of what you'll say to your therapist or finding a therapist. But what we're doing here is coaching in a very appropriate way. Like,
I freaking adore that because
cool.
to have the difference because I have been on both and therapy gets
Mm-hmm.
on my nerves. So
Because, like, how many times do I have to talk about this story? Not that it doesn't play a role, but
I see it now and I'm about to call my therapist again because it's been a minute since I had therapy. But it just gets on my nerve because of that. It's going in the past. And I got a mentor for the past couple of years, so I did both.
mm-hmm.
Therapy on and off, and then the mentorship. I stayed with her for 2 years. The difference is huge. So I still have to work in things in the past, and that's why I'm going back to therapy. But then I love having a coach now for finances and different things. I stopped the relationship. No, I didn't stop the relationship, but just the mentorship.
Yeah.
But she got me focused in the future, and I'm a future oriented person, so like I can't
Mm-hmm.
be stuck in the present, because if I get stuck in the present I'm depressed because I'm not where I'm supposed to be or where I want to be. But girl, 5 years from now, Frosty got it going
For
on.
sure. Yes.
But I love it
Yes.
that you're explaining that and you have both sides, because
Mm-hmm.
that is an interesting combination. And to explain it more for your clients, the way that you work, like, okay, that's something that you need to work on. Let's focus on something else. You need to go and find a therapist for that, because that's what I'm trying to create with my Patreon community, where I can give you the resources and tools to help you. But there are some times that I'm going to be like, let's help you finding you a therapist so you can work on that. So yeah, let's talk more
Yes.
about you and your system.
Yes. Well, and something I tell them this in the beginning. Like, I let them know in the beginning, hey, um, if you go into a 3-minute story about the past or even something that happens at work, I will gently interrupt and ask the question, what did you learn from this? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that your boss yelled at you. Of course, we want to talk about feelings, but that's in the past. You're just going to ruminate it? Are you just going to sit in bed angry every night? What are you doing differently so that doesn't happen or that there's a better outcome? Call your best friend and complain. And I don't mean that meanly. What I mean is, you're paying me to be a coach. So I don't want to act like a BFF that you vent to, because then I wouldn't be a coach. I would just be a friend. And I love having friends, but I specifically studied coaching so I can take people to the next level. Right? Like, I love and respect you enough to call you out, and tell you we need to move forward. That's how I feel about my clients. I love and respect you enough. And I don't sit there just to make money. I'm not going to yes you to death. I do listen like this. Like, I think it's really important to be an attentive listener,
Yeah, yeah.
but this isn't a coffee chat. This is a session. Um, would you pay your friend to get coffee with you? Probably not. Are you going to pay someone to take you to the next level? Yeah, most people would want that.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. So, do you offer like a group coaching or a one-on-one program?
I have done group coaching in the past. I may do it during the summer, but right now, um, I am like marketing one on one. And the reason being, everyone's a bit different. So right now, I'm concentrating on busy professional women, on time management and stress management.
How do
And
you do that? I mean, I'm good because I got my planners and my journals. So as long as I have my notebooks with me, everything is okay. but
yes,
but how do you do that? Yeah, how do you help your clients do that?
actually, like you hit the nail on the head. The number one thing is mindfulness around your schedule. So you're super overwhelmed because you don't know what you're going into in your day. You're so overwhelmed on Monday, but because you haven't planned your week in advance. You're late everywhere because you're not putting buffers in your calendar. Like, you schedule this dentist appointment when you said you take the kids to soccer. And now you're freaking out calling every mom asking them to take the kids to soccer, but it's your week for the carpool, and you did it 3 times in a row that you can't do it. Now all the moms are mad at you. But it's like, but if you planned in advance, you cut all that out. So step one would be writing it out. I really recommend time blocking, which means, like, say this meeting's 45 minutes, I would time block it for an hour.
Hmm.
But so I set it up on Sundays, for the week, but then I review it every day, because we're building mindfulness around our schedule. I compare it to people not wanting to check their bank account because they're nervous about their finances.
Yeah.
But what's in your bank account is in your bank account. It is measurable. Like, it might not be what you want to see, but it's the reality. Same with schedule. You might not want to see that you scheduled this much, or you're so scared about what's happening in the next few days, but you're ignoring it. So no wonder you're so overwhelmed by it. Um, for my clients who are diagnosed with ADHD, something such as time blocking will make them cry. They're like, "What are you talking about, Annie? I have no perception of time. Like, I'm so overwhelmed by the thought of planning ahead." You're right. So what I do with them instead is their very first step is to go backwards. So after their day or after their week, go in and put the things in, because what we're starting with is mindfulness time, mindfulness around time. So is there 3 hours that you just like bullshitted around and now you're mad that you didn't write that book that you want to write and you don't have time? Well, you had 3 hours to binge Netflix. So I'm here to gently call you out that this idea of no time is a lie. Like, this is a lie you tell yourself to make you feel better. Do you see how I
I
call
love it.
people out? Like,
I feel attacked, especially when you said Netflix. My last season, it was 12 episodes, 2 season, and I watched it in one day. But I don't have time.
I'm gonna cry. But the idea
I
is
love it.
also, if you were to plan for that though, like if that was your rest day,
Yeah,
do it up.
yeah.
Do it up. Like, we all deserve self-care and rest days too. The problem is when we use it as an excuse. I'm so exhausted every day after work. I just can't take on it. I can't work out. I can't write 3 sentences of a book. Are you kidding me? You went on TikTok for 3 hours and you consumed for most people, crap. 3 hours. You
Hmm.
didn't open a notebook and write 3 sentences for your book. You told me you were too exhausted, but you weren't too exhausted to sit there and scroll. Like, come on, what are you doing with your time? But
Yeah.
building the mindfulness, so looking backwards and being like, oh, there's all these chunks. Another game changer that I do with the idea of planning backwards is have people color coordinate, co-
Yeah.
color code it. What is going on? Um, so they would do something such as the free time or like wasted time, whatever it may be, is red. So then when they do a quick glance, they're like, I see a lot of red. I have it's over. I have a $10 planner from Amazon. It breaks down every 15 minutes, and I use it every day. 15 or $10. It doesn't. You can probably get them at the dollar store too.
Oh, when it comes
So
to planners, I know everything.
and
I started with one on Target, and now you will hear me, oh, well, if you want this, then you should check out Passion Planner. If you want
love
this,
Passion
you
Planner.
will like a Happy Planner. And if you're looking for this, Erin Condren has the perfect one for you. So I've been researching about planners because I am not diagnosed with ADHD, but I
Mm-hmm.
have ADHD symptoms because of my trauma. So one of my things were time, and I work for the post office. So I'm a mail lady during the day and a podcaster at night. That's what I say. That's my motto.
That's awesome.
And so when you work 12 hours, what do? You barely you try to get what 6 hours of sleep if you're lucky.
Ideally, yeah.
And then if you have a family, what is your me time? So I have lived by myself for most of it, but now I have added a poly relationship to my postal worker family and podcasting and me dealing with trauma and inner child work and everything else. So I have a busy
Mm-hmm.
schedule, and it's so funny that you say about after planning because
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
many people are focused on you have to have a morning routine and you have to set your day and this and that. That doesn't work for me. After I deal with everything that I have to deal with in the 24 hours that I have
Mm-hmm.
like 2 hours to myself if I'm lucky. 30 minutes. Let's say I have 30 minutes to go down and I jot down what I did. So I fill my planners after I did the stuff. So it's interesting because like I never heard of anybody talking about it, but that
Mm-hmm.
is my system. And so many people are focused on no, you have to plan ahead. You have to plan ahead. That's overwhelming for some people to plan
That's
ahead.
overwhelming.
I
That's
love
overwhelming. And a lot of my clients, what they did was they went backwards, and then as they built up their like self, not self esteem, but their like confidence in it, is when they start getting more comfortable with planning ahead because they realize like, especially the ones that are noticing all this wasted time, are like, well, if I scheduled this sooner, like it sounds like you know your time off, you know these like two 30-minute chunks. Um, so if you planned ahead, like fantastic, but also you're not confused with the time that you have available. And you're not making excuses of I can't do anything with my life because I'm working a lot. Like that's not serving you, right? Where you could be like, listen, I'm busy as hell. But I have these two breaks, and also I'm trying to prioritize myself because that's just as important. These are my only alone time, right? Like I can get silence 20 minutes a day,
yeah.
whatever it may be. But being mindful about it.
And people ask me because, like, how do you do podcasting working 12 hours, 6 days a week? So last year when I started it, I did it on my own, at first, but then I started doing podcasting guest, and now you have to work on your schedule. So I was crazy to do 2 interviews after work. So in September, I ended with 17 interviews that covered me October through December, which is the crazy season
Oh,
in the post office. So I was trying to plan ahead. Now this year, I'm like, I can't do that because I added the poly family. Like we have been working, but I haven't been around the kids. Now this year I'm around the kids. I went from pretty much a single girl living on her own to now I have to report to my family of 3 adults and 5 kids.
Oh my
So
gosh.
but then it's the days off. So now it's setting boundaries. And once you start doing mindfulness, being more self aware, and just accept of where you at, you can work with what you got. And for me, is like today is my day off, and I say day off is an illusion because I usually do 3 to 5 podcast interviews on my day off. But the podcast
Oh,
interviews give me life. So that's another thing too. You might have a busy schedule, and that's why like you have like some bad energy going around it because you're so stressed and everything else. But if you want find that
totally.
one thing, and it doesn't have to be a business, you can make it a hobby. Like I have diamond painting, I have journaling, something that gives you life. That's the recharge. You're recharging
Yes.
yourself to deal with the crazy life because this is the busiest that I have been in my life, and I have never been happier. And so
Heck
like
yeah.
I have a structure of what's happening now. If something changes, I must lose my shit. Because don't change my schedule. Like whatever is in the
Hey, come on.
schedule, it has to stay on the schedule. But it's just setting
Yes.
boundaries too.
I think you really hit the nail on the head. The other thing, okay, this idea of like I don't have time, that's one of the like the very common answers, right? And they don't realize that structuring their time is important, but boundaries is just as important. Start saying no, especially as women. We don't want to say no. We're like, oh, we take it on. Da, da, da. Say no. Like it's very simple. And the other thing is, I love that you brought up the idea of like so much joy around this, even though it's work. Um, I have a few women that I've worked with that, like currently I'm doing it with two, super successful, make more money than their partner. They are living life with confidence, right? Live in a nice place. Their goal is a creative project weekly. That's it. That's their goal. One creative project weekly. It brings them so much joy. It's their self care, it's their alone time. And knowing that they'll have that, I'm making this up, but like three
Hmm.
hours on a Sunday to at one point do this, you're looking forward to it. You're like, this is me time. I know I'm having me time. I know this is what I'm recharging my batteries. I'm not getting paid for this, but this is what I love. That's really cool to prioritize something where these women work a lot too. Like they work a ton of hours. Originally the excuse was I don't have time, but now they're realizing like no, alone time's important. And actually creativity brings me a lot of joy. So this is nice.
Yeah.
But boundaries, like um the big thing is like drinking alcohol. Like you don't need to go to the bar every weekend. Like you can say no to your friends. You don't have to stay out till 2 a.m. You can live your life. You're an adult. Like you can, but you just got hungover on a Friday. You went to brunch on Saturday, hungover. Now you're drunk. Now you lost Saturday, and now you're recovering on a Sunday, but you did nothing. And you had a goal this Sunday to do something that brought you joy. Like you're cutting your like what's it? You're cutting your foot off. You're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
Like you're your own worst enemy. I don't know what to tell you. This is like, but also the idea of awareness. Some people think that's the norm, right? They did it all through college. Now they're adult and they're like, well, my friends drink. They pay rent. They're fine. I'm fine. Like, and then say I can't take a dream vacation. I don't have time or money. Yeah, but you drink every night or order out food, and you're spending $500 a month minimum on crap,
Yeah.
right?
And not even that, like for people that have been detached from alcohol, because I have been detached from alcohol for so long, let's bring it
Mm-hmm.
back to family. I come from a huge family. You seem to be
Yeah.
coming from a huge family indoors. My huge family is outdoors because I had 24 cousins, but I'm an
Woo!
only child. So but we grew up together, and there's like 10 of us that are close in age that's our
Mhm.
clique, so like they took cliques in high school, I had cliques in my own family because of the ages, the difference.
Yes.
The teenagers were with the teenagers, kids with kids. So but it was a lot of chaos and things like that. So then when it comes to family, you have birthdays, you have graduation, you got this and that, and you really have to focus in. What I'm learning now is
Hmm.
family is grandparents, kids, and grandkids. Everybody else is a bonus.
That's
And
a good
then
word.
when you are focused on your family, then you have to focus on your structure and what works for you. And in my last interview, he went in on family structure, and I was like, "This, tell me
Tell
more."
me everything
Yes, tell
right.
me
Tell
all
me
the secrets.
everything you know. Yes. Yes.
So, and if you're a dreamer, or ambitious person, you have to find the time, and it's so hard because life comes at
Mm,
you. Life just
totally.
happens.
And oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
With this man, I'm sure he brought it up, but the idea of also I'm loving first of all that you identified like who's my big five or whatever it may be. Like these are my people. Um, but another thing is like people okay. Woo! Sounds like you're over the part of like using family as an excuse. You're like, no, these are my number ones. This is my important. But what a lot of people do is say like, I have all these family members. How can I miss family events? Everyone's counting on me. But let's say like your dad's side of the family kind of sucks, right? You go there, you feel like crap. Everyone's negative.
Mhm.
Everyone's saying, "Are you still doing that like business thing, that like little thing that you're doing?" They talk bad about money. You don't feel good around them, and then you leave and you look at your partner, you look at your friend or whoever it may be. You may call someone. You talk crap about them. You don't feel good still, right? Like you're angry while there.
Mhm.
You're angry on the phone. Then you go back and you go to your mom's family and you talk crap about the dad's family. Like all of these things, you just lost an entire day to anger and potentially more. Why are you hanging out with them? Because Aunt Sally said you have to go to the confirmation?
Is it worth
Why?
it?
Send a gift. Don't even send a gift. What the?
It's
Send
a
a
hard one,
cards.
and that's why I brought it up, because it's like family, like fuck what grown up is, job, this and that. A lot of people feel so entitled, or not entitled is when it comes to you, but like
Pressured?
the pressure, obligation of like being
Obligation.
there 100%. And it's like, to find peace and joy, like you really have to look at your circle. What is the
Mm,
people that you
totally.
have around you and the activities? Now I'm struggling because the only toxic thing I have in my life is my job right now.
Ooh, that's the worst, especially when you work full time. That's the
It
worst.
has been my longest complicated relationship of 17 years. And it's so toxic that the first year doesn't count. So it's only 16 as a career.
The first year doesn't count. Okay. Okay. Let me
uh,
store that for other people. First year doesn't count.
non-career, and then I got hired as career. So I have 17 years,
Oh,
but only 16 counts as retirement, for my retirement. But I still talk about that year. That year is important.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that, and I'm focused on the job, that's what we know. So I left my family at 15. So I already set boundaries with my family. I was like, you guys are crazy. I love you to death, but I need to put a distance between us. Now I'm trying to do it because of my job, because then what society says, you're supposed to find your job. For different generations, my mom's generation was, you find a job, you get a good pay, you have good benefits, you give them 35 years of your life, and you're good to go. For my generation, that's not working. That's not
Mm-hmm.
going to work. We can't rely on just a retirement check or a social security check.
Totally.
We're
If it's
not going
even
to have
around
anything.
by
If
the time we. which is not, but
So
okay.
we have to do our own. So now I found something that gives me passion, that I want to do it full time and this and that, but I still have that job. And a lot of people will use that job as an excuse to go after your dreams. But we come back to how you say it, the mindfulness. If you know your surrounding, if you know what you're working on, if you know yourself, it's a
Hmm.
lot easier to say, um, that's not going to work for me right now. Maybe next time.
Yeah, and learning that graceful decline of events. Like, I really appreciate the invite, but I already overscheduled and I'm going to have to say no. Think of me next time. Thank you for the invite. Like, a lot of people don't want the awkwardness of saying no. It's 3 seconds of awkwardness. If your friend gets mad at you or a family member gets mad at you, you don't want them in your life. What you need to focus on is the top 5 people in your life. Who are these people? If 3 of them suck, you need a new 3 people. And another thing I like to teach people is this idea, especially younger people are like, I don't have any role models. I don't have anyone. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
What I tell them is you do not need to know personally your top 5. Start watching the YouTube videos of people that you want to start your own business, find someone who successfully did it and then study them. And they're a part of your life now. You listen to their podcast, you read their books. Like, that's your top 5. That's where your brain is going. So, concentrating on who is your top 5 and go with it.
I love it. So, top five. So, can you tell me more?
Yeah, like one of the first things that's helpful is who do you talk to the most? So even if you're like, I talk to my cousin, she's not in the US, but I talk to her a lot. We don't see each other. Maybe we see each other every 2 years, whatever it may be. But you guys text every day. And she's a negative Nelly. Again, making this up, but like
Yeah, yeah.
she's negative. She always has drama. You're always playing the therapist. She's exhausting to be around. You still talk to her every day. She's sucking the life out of you every day. And you may not notice it, or the idea of, and this one drives me crazy, but okay. Um, I've known them so long. They're like family, or they are family. I've known them so long. They
Yeah.
know so much about me. How can I give that up? The same excuse of we've been dating or we've been married so long, I can't imagine life without them. They make me miserable. But are you freaking kidding me? What are the phrases I tell people? And I'm pretty sure I made this up, but like, I'm so sorry if I took this from someone. It is, you're the only person that you go to bed with every single night and will wake up with every single morning for your whole life.
Oh,
You're the
yeah.
only,
No.
parents are there for a little bit, significant others. At one day, maybe your kids, are in bed with you. For the rest of your life, though, you are the only person who woke up every single day and going to bed every single day with you. So, number one, do you like yourself? Because a lot of people don't. That's why they don't want to be alone, because then they have to be with themselves.
Hmm.
And number two, who do you like that's in your life? Do you even like them? Like,
Damn. Like I
do you
know all of
even
them,
like
but
them? No,
like
just kidding.
say, yeah, no, I love it. Cause like I said, at 15, I had to choose different for my life because I knew the family that I was with, like they're cool as hell, but we don't share the same vibe. And then I fell off. At that time, it was more of anger because I didn't
Mm.
understand. But then when I got closer to my biological side, my father, my biological side, I was like, oh, okay, this makes so much sense. That's why my mom's side of the family and we can't see eye to eye because we're so different. But then now that I'm trying to go after my dreams and
Mm-hmm.
what I have to do to get to the next level, I can't relate to either side of my families because I'm different, like I have some amazing people, but they went to school. Some of them did the traditional thing, going to
Mm-hmm.
college, and now they have their job. Others were teen parents and they didn't have the same resources, so they had to focus on raising their kids. Thank God I have 24 cousins. I saw teen parenthood and I was like, that doesn't seem fun for me. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try that one. And
Hmm.
I had to survive through my 20s and all the trauma and all that stuff. So I can separate everything and focus on what I want to do. Like today is my day off, and I'm like really having a hard time because I had 4 podcast interviews. But I really want to be with my family, because the kids are in school. So we can have adult time, watch the crazy shows, do the crazy things, have the crab legs, lobster because the kids don't eat that. And we have to have chicken nuggets because they want chicken nuggets,
Every night, totally. You're like, it's the
you know?
chicken nuggets.
But
Yes.
it's having a big vision of where you want to go. What do you want to do with your life? But you can't get there till you just love and accept yourself. And I never thought about, yeah, we are the person that we wake up with and go to sleep with. That's insane. We have to like each other.
You have, like, and the idea of if you don't love yourself, how on earth or why on earth are you expecting other people to love you? You don't love yourself. And now you're looking for a partner who makes you whole. Well, you're whole already. The problem is that you think you're not whole. So you're looking for someone to fill that void.
Hmm.
People can add to your life. They're beautiful. I have a boyfriend who is a better person than me. He is an amazing man. He does not complete me. I was complete before I met him. And if he was looking for me to complete him, it wouldn't work because I'm not here to complete people. We can add to each other's life. That's a beautiful thing. But if you're looking for these people to complete you, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. Or it doesn't, but people don't know that. And you're like, I'm so upset. I'm so depressed. Well, you don't like yourself. And you have to be with yourself every day. You're the one walking around with you every day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's hard. Life's hard. You don't like yourself. What's it like when you hang out around someone you don't like? It's hard. It's difficult.
It is. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because now I can't say much because I'm new to this self-love journey.
Oh, I know I'm coming off rough, but
No, no,
yeah.
you're the perspective because I'm already I crossed the threshold.
Hmm.
So I feel like I already crossed it and I'm excited to be here. But it's crazy to be here because for so long, I acted like that. I did not like myself. I hated myself and I was holding on guilt and shame and responsibility that didn't belong to me. And then I had so much anger and resentment to be here. It's just like, what? But yeah, once I did the mental health evaluation and I actually created a new category for anger, I was like, okay, so nobody needs to be Francie angry. And people are like, the people that I told, they're like, I don't see it. Like, yeah, because you haven't seen me behind closed doors. Like in my home, that's where the crazy really comes out. Outside, I only let that crazy out um if
A
I'm
little
off.
bit.
But now that I love myself, I see the difference of the chaos hasn't changed that much.
Hmm.
My perspective and my view on life has since I started loving myself. I can have more compassion for others too when they're having a
Yes.
rough time and or see it like when somebody else is bringing bad energy. I try not to judge, but sometimes I can come up and be like, okay, I see depression, I see anger, I see anxiety, so I can be
Hmm.
more calming. But you can only do that if you're doing that for yourself. So now instead of being
Yeah.
so judgmental when I'm having an anger session or depression, I'm like, hey, depression, what's up, girl? It's been a minute, but can we not do this right now? What is it? What do you need? Do you need some chocolate? Do you need some ice cream, candy? What's happening? Can we bring you back up? Can we let
No,
joy in?
and what you're doing is so powerful because you're acknowledging the emotion. I'm feeling depressed. Okay, let me dig a little bit. What is this depression? Like even something like anger, the root of all anger is sadness, but it's easier to say angry.
It is. I don't
It's
like
so easy to say.
sadness. Now that I got rid of anger, well, I didn't get rid of it, but like it's sadness. Sadness comes up, and that one makes you feel vulnerable. So
Totally.
that's why you're angry because you're like, I'm not weak. I'm not a bitch. Sorry. But you're like,
Totally. I ain't a bitch. No,
yeah. So
totally.
I'm
Right.
angry. I'm
No.
not sad. Sad is for weak people, but it is. And now that I'm not angry, sadness comes in and like I feel a little bit angry because I don't want to be vulnerable. But I'm just like, it's okay. You just need some love right now. So I'm just going to give you some
Yes.
love and you will be okay.
And I love that you're able to ask yourself that, like, okay, what am I feeling? Insert feeling, anger. Um, what can I do? And this is the difference between a victim and a survivor or a thriver. What can I do to change this? I'm accepting that I'm depressed. I'm not pushing that out of my head because that's not going to serve you too. Ignoring isn't going to serve you. All right, I'm accepting that this is it. This sucks. I don't like this. All right, forward movement. All right, you could go. What you'll do is you'll go to therapy and you'll talk about your depression. Then you'll meet with a coach, and the coach will be like, "All right,
Yes.
and what the hell are you doing about this? Action steps." Like, but a therapist would hold your hand, be gentle, which is again, there is a place for that.
Yeah.
But 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 potentially you'll stay stuck there. Potentially you'll because someone's allowing you to do that. And sometimes it's the idea of like, well, have you healed yet? Well, are you healed? Like, and and healing, in my opinion, is a continuous process. You don't heal and move on. Like, um,
Mm,
and two years ago, my brother passed away. He overdosed, and he
I'm
suffered from
sorry.
addiction for 15 years. Thank you. Um, I started to heal from that. I took time off and didn't see clients because my heart was broken. I'm still healing from that. I can talk to clients. I can talk about the grieving process with clients. I can hold space for them. I can talk to people who love someone suffering from addiction or is actively suffering from addiction themselves. But I didn't heal from it. Say, okay, that happened. All right, it's that happened. This is heartbreaking. It's allowed to be heartbreaking. I'm allowed to be heartbroken now.
Yep.
But again, staying the victim. I could easily say my brother passed away. He's my best friend. Um, I hate the world, and anyone who's suffering from addiction is weak. You can say that. You can if someone told you, my loved one overdosed, and that's why I can't trust or love anyone anymore. It doesn't mean that. That doesn't equal that. You're choosing that. and
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't want to hear that, but what you're doing is actively choosing that.
I know that example that you gave you. I know that you said it and you don't understand where you're coming from, but like it triggered me because like I hate it because within my family we have that where half of no, let's just say there's just one kid out of 11 that sees their mom as an alcoholic, abusive mother, and everything else. The other 10 see
Mm-hmm.
a strong woman that went through a lot and her coping mechanism was alcohol, and that's why her liver gave out. Now out of 11, two uncles passed away because their addiction to alcohol was bigger than whatever they were struggling with. So I have a
Oh my
soft heart
gosh.
for people who struggle with addiction because I have seen it, what it
Mm-hmm.
does. And like I love alcohol, but I respect alcohol because I know what it does. And that's for a person that is struggling with some hardcore demons that they don't see a light. And it doesn't matter. I have amazing family and they go to church and they do all this, and that, and they still, they, they there's stuff in their head was a lot stronger than the environment that they were in.
These are
So,
people who hate themselves more than we could hate them.
yeah,
They're actively destroying their bodies.
amen to that.
Um,
So,
mhm.
I can see it. I can relate in that part. I can relate in so much talking to you. I can talk to you
Good,
forever and a day.
good. I'm
Because
happy.
there's
Yeah,
so much. After the interview, I started hit record. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like we knew each other before. Because there's so much similarities and difference. Because you got you're 6 kids, and I'm an only child. Yet I was able to relate to a lot that you had to say because I have 24 cousins. So
totally. Because you experience that love and being around people. Like,
yeah, and the
you know what
different
it's like to be with a lot of people.
personalities.
Lots of personalities. And it just
Yeah.
teaches you, it just has so many lessons. Like, I know I'm going backwards with this, but this is something that somewhat blows people's minds. So if someone's, or not blow people's mind, but if this is just for anyone listening who has loved someone suffering from addiction or um, has loved someone who's passed, is instead of like people use the word addict, they're an addict, they're a junkie, right? And immediately your face is like as if addict is a dirty word, right? So the verbiage I have used is someone suffering from addiction, someone suffering from alcoholism, someone suffering from a drug addiction, so that we can look at them as in this is a suffering, the anger that people feel that they're choosing this lifestyle. It's a mental illness. They suffer from addiction. Like,
Yeah.
do you think they want to be sick every day? My brother's drug of choice was heroin. He tried many times to get off of it, but you get sick. Do
Yeah.
you want to poison yourself and then throw up for hours? Come on. You think they're choosing that life? You think they want to do that? They lost all their family, they lost all their friends. My brother went to jail 2 times.
Yeah.
Twice. Like, you think he wanted that? You think he wanted to be 28 and 29-year-old in prison or in jail, I should say?
Yeah.
No, it's safe to say he was suffering and he didn't like himself more than anyone else could feel that way towards him. It's heartbreaking.
It is. I love that you have that soft heart. Oh, girl, just on that topic alone, we can talk forever. But where can my listeners find more about you?
I would say my website. I have a LinkedIn and Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm sure you'll like
Yeah, I'll
have
put
that,
that on the show
uh,
notes.
or more importantly, like I guess my name, because I'm the I'm the only Annie Delre. Like if you Google my name, I'm the only person that will come up, which is exciting and also like kind of scary because
Yeah.
all it takes is
Trust
like
me.
one thing.
I know.
So, but AnnieDelre.com, just going right to my website is also super convenient. Um, yeah, they can find me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on my show. I really had such a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for having me. Me too. Like old gal pals just sitting down. I totally feel it.
Yeah, I love it. So, like I said, I found her through Podmatch. So, you guys can go check it out if you want her as a podcast guest. And yeah, I will put her information on the show notes. You can find my um podcast on all major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music, as well as YouTube channel. So you know the deal. Follow and like and subscribe. Anyways, hope you have a blessed day.